finally getting my hands on the NBA 2K26 builder from being a community day. A lot of people was asking me and requesting me to end up doing an Anthony Edwards build. And luckily, I was end up playing with Anthony Edwards in play now, and I even used him in my team. So look, as we're gonna be doing this Anthony Edwards build, there's a few things that you all gotta know. As of an Anthony Edwards build, you know you can pick between 6'4", 6'5", 6'6", even through 2K24 all the way to 2K25. But over the past year, you know the 6'4" builds went crazy as they end up being the ultimate guard build, lock build, and Anthony Edwards build. And y'all know when it's a height in the game that 2K sees is getting used a lot, they end up tweaking that actual height when it comes to the attributes. Now with an Anthony Edwards build this year, I tried to make one at 6'4", but the attributes wasn't giving me what I needed. But as of me going 6'5", 6'6", if you pay attention to this 6'5" with a 6'9" wingspan on NBA 2K26, looking at all the stats when it's maxed out, these are the stats what it look like on NBA 2K25. They have these similarities and they have their differences, as of the three-pointer being higher on 2K25, a few defensive stats being higher on 2K26. But for the build, as this being a shooting guard, 6'5" or 6'6", 6'9" wingspan or 6'10", based on if you're going to go with 6'6", this is going to be a 215-pound Anthony Edwards build. Now we know AE can get on that rim, he can dunk that ball. Now look, we getting dunking that ball. I wanted to go for a 93 driving dunk, but I also was thinking I could finesse the system. Now with us having max plus ones and max plus twos, and or even specializing in finishing, I can end up getting cap breakers, and I could also use my max plus ones and max plus twos for my specialization to end up getting like Hall of Fame or even legend posterizer on a build that doesn't have to have a 93 or 96 driving dunk. And I know some of you guys are going to remember the 2K24 Anthony Edwards build. It was between you make a 6'4" Anthony Edwards build or a 6'6" Anthony Edwards build, and that's literally where we're getting at. The 6'4", you're going to have to use a lot of cap breakers to make it as good as you really want it to, and with the 6'6", you could be able to rock out with it as it is and not have to worry about having at least 10 to 12 cap breakers just so it can be equivalent to the 6'6" or 6'5" build. Now with the driving layup, I did go with a quick little 80 driving layup. I want to go 85, but I end up figuring out to tweak that in the future. I did what enough I could do in time being. With the driving dunk, I did go 89 driving dunk. Now with me going 89 driving dunk, this was my idea. I can end up using one of my max plus twos to get Hall of Fame posterizer, or in the future I could end up using my specialist on finishing so I can use +2 cap breakers to get it to 91, and then when I hit +5 cap breakers, I can throw a few more on there to get to 93, so we can end up getting a 93 driving dunk, which will end up upgrading our vertical as well, so we can get those crazy contacts and things like that. And also another important thing that you need to know when it comes to dunking in NBA 2K26, when it comes to standing dunk, you know how you can make a 6'2" guard with like a 60 standing dunk or a 50 standing dunk and you can get the animation? That's no more. Unless that's inside of a dunk package, that would be the only way you'll be able to get a standing dunk. If you're under 6'5", so if you're a 6'4", 6'3", 6'2", 6'1", and you even try to put a 40 standing dunk, you're not going to get a standing dunk animation no matter what. As long as you got it inside a dunk package, you won't be able to even equip a standing dunk animation on those type of builds at that height. But as you're going 6'5" and up, you'll be able to get a standing dunk as long as you got a 40, 45 standing dunk on your build. Now, as we get to the shooting ability on this build, we have a 89 mid-range. Now, this can go so many different ways. As us having set shot specialist on gold, we can end up getting few cap breakers that we get for +5 or whatever. Even we put a few just to get to like 91, so we get shifty shooter on gold as well for this build. And then 83 three-pointer. You can get limitless on bronze. I know you can switch this up. You can end up going a higher three-pointer and maybe a decent mid-range if you really want to at least have like an 89, 90 three-pointer as Anthony Edwards. But also you got to keep in mind, you have max plus ones and max plus twos. These are coming in very crucial for a build like this. You will be able to use those max plus ones and max plus twos to get your set shot specialist to Hall of Fame, to even get your shifty shooter all the way to Hall of Fame, or even legend if you end up going with +2 on your actual midi, so you can get a 91, so you get shifty shooter on go and use your max plus twos. Now when it comes to the ball handle and dribbling, you can really stop at 86 or 88, but really I want handles for days on this build. We need handles for days. And some of you might be thinking like, oh, you only got silver unpluckable. I'm not gonna lie, as of playing the game so far, there's not no on ball. I haven't experienced a actual on ball pluck, like somebody actually tapping square and giving me an animation and stealing it, or even a consistent blitz steal. So that's the only reason I stopped at 90, just to get the handles for days. But if you want to go 92, go 92 so you can unlock those dribble moves and things like that. But also you will get unpluckable on goal. Now when it comes with the speed with ball, Speed with ball, all you really just need is an 84 speed with ball, so you can end up getting that SGA dribble style. But I recommend you go 86 so you can get lightning launches on go, and you want to end up boosting that to max +1 or max +2. Hey, in the future, hey, you got a lot of options that you could do on something like this. But when it comes to the physicals on this build, we do have a 87 speed. We can knock that down 1 to get 86, so we're not gonna really need it. But you see, your speed with ball and your speed is tied together. You cannot have a higher speed with ball than speed this year. So you're gonna see anytime that you end up trying to upgrade your speed with ball, your speed is gonna go up as well. You can end up having a higher speed than speed with ball, but you can't have a higher speed with ball than speed. Then when it comes to the defense, I'm gonna upgrade. I'm gonna end up having an 85 perimeter on this build so we can get those silver badges, be able to get some on-ball minutes and stuff like that. When it comes to the steal, I'm going with a 73 steal to get interceptor on silver, so I can have a better chance getting lanes. Now, you could go to 79 or 85, but you're gonna have to sacrifice something, especially when it comes to like the shooting, to even get that close to that rating. Now, when it comes to the block, I made sure that you got that 68 block for you get high fly denier on bronze. You do get decent blocks on this game. Even with me having bronze high fly denier, it's a few times that I got some decent chase down blocks before. Then for the build in total, this is what it's looking like. You have an 80 driving layup. You can end up switching that up to get to 85 if you want to, if you want layup mixer on silver. Then you got an 89 driving dunk. It's so many possible ways with this 89 driving dunk. You can do your max +2 off of specialization and end up getting Hall of Fame posterizer and save your attributes that you was going to use to end up getting to like a 93, or you could end up getting to 93 with cap breakers and max +1s, so you can end up getting legend posterizer when you use your max +2s. Like, it's so many different ways that you can do this with NBA 2K26. This is the main key part when it comes to, once you get your build done, you're going to end up unlocking a new power to your build. Now you see, we have set shot specialist on gold. I told you, if you max +1 that, you will end up having it on Hall of Fame. And then you throw 2 cap breakers on your mid-range. Once you get them, you will end up having shifty shooter on gold as well. Now, I know they're both tier 1s, but that's the thing. You have a max +1 and you have a max +2. They're both tier 1s, but that's the reason why we said we did the specialization for finishing. We're going to be able to use one of our max +1s and our max +2s for finishing, so we don't have to touch those for when it comes to the tiers. When it comes to everything else, like, oh, you want tier 2, you have a nice option of things that you could choose from. You got layup mixer. If you want to end up doing max +1 or max +2, you can get it to silver or gold without even spending more attributes on the build. And then if you want to end up putting it somewhere else, you still got other badges like immovable force. You can get that on gold so nobody can get past you, or you can get paint prodigy. There's a lot of different things that you can do with this. I told y'all, when it comes to these max +1s and max +2s, you got to be very strategic when you end up making these builds or even placing these max +1s. Yes, you can end up changing your max +1s. The thing is, you got to be very strategic when you end up placing them, because one game you might want to end up being a crazy dunker with even having an 89 or 93 driving dunk and have legend posterizer, legend this and legend that with using those max +2s. Or next game you can end up being a shot creating guard to be able to have set shot specialist or shifty shooter on gold and Hall of Fame and still be able to knock down shots and get contact dunks while playing defense. With this being like a two-way prodigy type build, Anthony Edwards, Kobe Bryant, a T-Mac type build, especially being at a shooting guard position, I definitely recommend y'all to end up messing around with the build being at 6'5 or 6'6, or even making the wingspan a little bit shorter or longer based on your preference. I did want to end up making a version that's a 93 driving dunk, maybe at 6'6 if I do end up trying that. But if you notice, there's a lot of areas that you can end up throwing cap breakers on if you want to. When it comes to driving dunk, you can throw cap breakers there. When it comes to the mid-range, you can throw cap breakers there to get that set shot specialist on Hall of Fame, shifty shooter on gold, or even get posterizer on gold and unlock that Russell Westbrook dunk package. Now look, don't forget about the animations. That's another thing. A lot of people are going to make their builds and they're forgetting about certain animation requirements because they're more worried about the badges because they got the max +1s and max +2s. But for the build name, I'm called a two-way mid-range high flyer. Now, hey, it's better to be called a two-way mid-range slasher. It's the same thing, but it just sounds a little bit more fancier. But if you notice, this build has no weaknesses. As we're getting shades of Eddie Jones, Kobe Bryant, and Tracy McGrady, this Anthony Edwards two-way prodigy build, it sounds like we're going into the right direction. Now look, it's a lot of things you got to take notes on and break down, especially when you make your version of an Anthony Edwards build. Hey, take your time. Don't rush into it. Don't max +1s and those max +2s and those future cap breakers. Keep that in mind as well when you're making these builds. But look, if y'all boys enjoyed this video and y'all mess with the Anthony Edwards build and y'all might end up tweaking y'all's a few off this blueprint, hey man, all I ask y'all to do is drop a like on the video. Make sure y'all boys subscribe. I'm gonna see y'all boys in the next one, and make sure you check out the video on the screen, man.